Aloha and welcome to That Time I Got Arrested. This is the 8th episode and you guys know who I am. This episode is a time that I actually got arrested. It's about betrayal and friendship and addiction and getting high with a little help from my friends. So reach out to us on social media, B. Casper on Instagram, That Time I Got Arrested on Instagram, submit to the podcast, That Time I Got Arrested at gmail.com. I want to hear your story. I want to read it on the air. I want to interview you. I want to have you on the podcast. I want you to smoke a joint with me and write us a review and I will give you free drugs. Okay, I love you. My name is B. Casper and my entire life has been a lie. That's not even my real name. But don't worry, I'm going to tell you all of my secrets. This isn't the story of how I became an orphan. This isn't the story about how I jumped off a 5-story building and survived. This isn't about how I died and came back funny. This is that time I got arrested. Hannah, Hannah, Bomana, Fofana, Fana, Momana, me, my, Fofana, Hannah. This episode isn't about Hannah, but it might as well be because Hannah is my motherfucking life. I mean, not literally. I guess that would be a little weird, but low-key, Hannah is the love of my life, and she is one of, if not the most. I mean, like, I don't want other people who I'm close with to think that Hannah is the most important person in my life, but Hannah's the most important person in my life. So I'm sorry. And I'll explain why she is. My friend Matt did a thought experiment with me the other night because we were talking about like love and attachment and relationships. And he gave me this scenario where if a family member, like my closest family member, my closest friend, which is Hannah, or my significant other was in a house that was on fire and I could only save one of them, who would I save? And I was just like, Hannah, duh, no question. And he said, why? And I said, because she's my favorite. And he said, why? And I said, because I can't live without her. I can't live without her. I mean, I would have to if she died or if I died, I guess I would have to live without her. But I can't live without her if we're both alive and in this world. Because do you know that like the cause of all addiction is really like insecurity and a lack of connection? It's not like, you're not strong enough. And I don't believe in the mindset of addiction being a disease. I think that it's a lack of connection. And every single female person that I talked to in prison who had a drug problem, which was honestly 99.9% of them, they would all be able to trace the root of their addiction towards their insecurity. And I think a lot of addicts are like that, in particular women, but I think a lot of addicts are really just obviously in pain, but they're insecure. They don't feel like they're good enough. They don't feel like they're worthy and of value. And so they take drugs and they fill up their life with all these things that make them feel better, that make them feel something and not like this insignificant speck of dust that we all actually are, except we're all like different pieces of the same soul that is really evolving into becoming a god. But we can talk about that later, okay? What I'm going to talk about today is a time that I got arrested before a music festival and how sometimes your family are the people you choose and sometimes your family are the people that betray you. And that's life, folks. You know what I'm saying? That's life. So I was insecure, and I'm not going to say that I'm not insecure now, but at that time in my life, I was way more insecure about this specific thing. I never thought that I was like good enough because my parents didn't love me. Okay, I'm just going to say it. That's what it is. I never thought I was good enough because my parents didn't love me. So I never thought anyone could love me. And I was always convinced that everyone was going to leave. So people leave and that's fine, but I make friends really easily and I see value and worth in myself now, way, way, way more than I did at this period of my life. So I was insecure, like I wasn't good enough to have real, genuine, true friends. And I would pay pretty much people to hang out with me in the sense that I was constantly like footing the bill for a party that surrounded me all of the time so that I never had to be alone, because being alone felt like physically painful to me. So I just had like a group of friends that rolled with me everywhere I went, and I fed them and I paid for their concert tickets and I got them high and I flew them around the country and I got them, into festivals and shows and places and things and secret parties and cool events. And, I like brought an entourage with me. Yeah, I mean, I definitely wasn't a celebrity, but I had a lot of money and I had, a pretty groovy lifestyle. And I like spent all of my money. I didn't save a goddamn dime. I spent all of it on making sure that everyone around me was also having a good time. We were all going to have the best time all the time because the world is on fire, baby. And we've only got today. Like living in the moment can be pretty fucking reckless if you take it to an extreme. So #balance. Anyways, I spent $4,000 on tickets to a music festival. I had money. I had lots of money. $4,000 was like nothing to me, but I have a family. I mean, like I have like a real blood family. Like my dad's side of the family, they all speak Spanish and they all live in Florida and they're pretty far away and like distant. And every like 5 years I would like go to Florida and like live there for a little while and be like having total culture shock because I didn't speak the language and I, wasn't assimilated to their like culture. But when I was with my grandparents or with my mom's side of the family, that was an entirely different world. Like they were white and they were upper middle class and they were all educated. And, they knew that I was like going crazy and that I was fucking around. They didn't know what I was up to, but they knew that I had like some shit going on. So I had a lot of cash and I, couldn't really spend all of it. Eventually I would find a place where I could launder money and I figured out how to launder money. But for maybe like the first like 4 or 5 years of selling drugs, I mean, I just had shoe boxes full of cash. I would invest in a lot of like pretty colored rubber bands that I would just like count out thousands in and roll them up and, put them in places in my apartment. Like I didn't know what to do with that cash either, but I like wanted to spend this money, right? Like what was I doing all this work for? So, I mean, not only would I spend it on the people around me, but I would also live a life of luxury. So I bought these VIP tickets to this music festival. They were insane. I mean, it was like you had a butler. Like, what the fuck? Why did I think that was cool? And like, it was $4,000 for like a 2-person, little like tent thing. And it was like me and my boyfriend and then like my friend and her boyfriend. And I like was paying for everyone, like my boyfriend was selling drugs, but like he wasn't like shelling out $4,000 for us to go to music festivals and be in VIP. But like I was, because I just like was like, yeah, this is what I'm fucking trying to do. And like, I would dare someone to say shit to me about it, dare someone to say shit to me about the way I do things now. Go fuck yourself. So some things haven't changed, some things have. I'm not a drug dealer anymore. I try not to, like fund people's groovy lifestyles. I'm better at drawing boundaries. I like to make people dinner now. So I really try to practice like radical kindness and like nourishing people with like love and affection. Like that's my vibe. That's what I like to like put out into the universe. So I'll make people, strangers, anyone really, if I feel like they need it. Usually I will find them on social media. Like if someone posts something sad on Facebook, I will hit them up and be like, yo, you trying to have dinner? Because I'm trying to feed you, friend. And that's how I practice love. And this was like a way for me to practice love, but it was coming from a place of like insecurity. It was coming from a place of not feeling good enough. And it was really coming from a place of addiction, because I feel like if there's anything that you could really say that I'm addicted to, it's like love and attention and affection. And obviously I'm a comedian now. Oh, it's sad. It's sad. It's sad. Let's all laugh about it. Ha 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 ha. So I gave my aunt all of this cash so that she would buy these expensive music festival tickets for me on her credit card. But she knew that it was drug money. And she was like, where did you get $8,000 from? And I thought that she was going to fucking be cool about it, okay? I thought that that was our fucking deal and she was going to be cool and it was fine. You know, that was my perception of like the transaction. I gave her the money. She said that she bought the tickets, and that was like, you know, bingo bango, man. That's how you do deals, right? Well, except she didn't buy the tickets. She called the police, and they couldn't prove and like, you know, catch me selling drugs, but they could, you know, say that I stole her credit card and like bought these music festival tickets, which like I didn't need to do. Like I had money. Everyone knew that I like had money. And I not only bought these like $4,000 like VIP tickets for me and my friends, but I also paid for 12 other like $200 tickets for a group of people that I just like needed around me at all times. I just like needed the party to never stop. I needed someone to be there to roll my joints and light my cigarettes and tell me, you know, they loved me and like hug and say that we're having a great time. Aren't we having a good time? It's not sad at all. You're not sad at all. I was so sad. So my aunt called the police. They came to my house. They arrested me. They dressed up like a delivery man from UPS, and they arrested me, and they like arrested me in front of my friends. It was super embarrassing. And they took me to the police station, and my aunt like came to the police station and like came into the back of the holding, you know, area that I was in. And she like sat down and she was like, I did this to help you. And I like wanted to spit in her face, but I told her to fuck off and that she was dead to me and that I wanted my $8,000 back, which I never got back, never got it back. So I was waiting, you know, I didn't know what was going to happen. I think I got charged with like improper use of a credit card or I think it was misuse of a credit card, some shit like that. And my friends all like knew what happened because they knew that I was a drug dealer. They knew that I had plenty of money. They knew that my family sucked and like were trying to like take control of me in a way that they didn't really have the right to do. Like if the police are going to catch me selling drugs, then catch me. Then fucking catch me. If you can't catch me, don't try and set me up on some fucking bullshit to slow me down, because that's not what that did. If anything, that just made me angrier and like withdraw from them and eventually, you know, get arrested for something way worse, like, you know, growing pot. So, I mean, that's not worse. That is not worse, but the charges were more serious. So my friends were good to me because I was good to them. So you know what they did? This is so sweet. They all like went to my house. They sold as many of the drugs that I had, which was acid, Molly, weed, mushrooms, mushroom chocolates, which I had made for everyone for this festival. Made them myself. I put them in little like duck chocolate like molds. It was super cute. So they sold all of my drugs like the night that I got arrested, and then they took all of that money to the courthouse the next day and they bailed me out of jail. It was like 10 of my friends in this courthouse in Illinois over the summer, the day before this music festival, and they were all sitting in the back of this courthouse. And I remember being like brought in and like I was honestly like so touched. I was like, wow, like these people actually love me. And like later when I went to prison, when I, you know, really fucked up and had something terrible happen and go wrong, all of these people were not there. But you know who was there? Fucking Hannah, dude, my ride or die. That bitch has been there thick and thin, especially on the thin, in the thinnest, when there's like nothing left of me. That's where that girl is. And none of those other 12 kids like have anything to do with me now. But Hannah, Hannah is like someone I talk to every single day. She always says the right thing to me. She's always giving me good advice. She's always encouraging to make better choices. She is loving me through my mistakes, and she is putting her foot down when I go too far. That is like real love. That is what your family does for you. Hannah is my fucking family. And I have other friends that are my family too. Like, if you're listening to this and like you are that close to me too, like, don't get upset. I love you as much as I love her. But Hannah and I have a special relationship because we went through that together. Also, Hannah was on mushrooms at the courthouse. I talked to her today too. And I told her that I was going to tell this story. And she was like reminiscing about that day. And she was like, yeah, it was so scary. I was on mushrooms in the courthouse. And I was like, what do you mean you were on mushrooms? She goes, well, yeah, we were trying to sell all of your drugs. And we just figured like we shouldn't be assholes. We should buy some too. And Steve and I, this other kid, she's like, we just decided to, take the mushrooms like right then and there because we were feeling really weird and we didn't know what else to do. We were all like pretty young and dumb, live and let live, because like that's so funny. So I get out after they had all bailed me out. I get out in the courthouse. I didn't have to like go back to the police station or anything. They let me go right there. And I came out and all of my friends were waiting for me and they were like all sad because it's like, oh, we just like aren't going to the music festival anymore. This like ruined our whole weekend. We had been hyped about this for, a couple of months. And I got out and I was like, you guys ready to party? And they thought I was going to be the one that was like, nah, let's not go. And like, let's be good and safe. And I'm like, no, fuck that. I'm like, fuck the police. I'm like, fuck my family. I'm like, fuck conventional society and what the fuck you're supposed to be doing. Like, let's go have a good time and like dance our troubles away. And that's exactly what we did. We had a great weekend. And honestly, I mean, we had a great weekend. We had so much fun. And that was probably the last time that I like hung out with that group of people, because then my life would get more serious in the sense where I didn't pull back from selling drugs at that point. You'd think that like after Miami, Ohio, Virginia, all of these things, you'd think that after all of these things, and now this like with my fucking family, you know what I mean? Like this story happened in Illinois. So Miami, Miami, Ohio, Virginia, Illinois. You think after all this stuff happening to me, getting arrested so many times, getting in so much trouble, almost being done with college, that I would start to like get my shit together, right? That I would start to like do things differently, that I would learn from my mistakes and I would get smarter and wiser and make better choices. No. Oh God, no. No, God, I wish that I could tell you that that's what I did and that's the kind of hero I am. But that's not what happened. I got way deeper into selling drugs. I got way deeper into, this gang of like white Southern boys. We called it a secret society because that's what white people do. But like this gang of drug dealers, I just got deeper into this gang. And we're going to talk about that next time. We're going to talk about the secret society that I was a part of. And I'm not going to like get killed or anything for talking about it. Don't worry. It's not like the Grateful Dead family. This is something different. And you guys, these are my secrets. And now they're yours too. So we're in it together. Bon voyage.